The Donaldson Cross Country Championship, brought to you by Donaldson Filtration Systems, a market leader in filtration solutions. We're back in Gauteng for the final leg of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship. The Atlas Copco Gold 450, situated at the gold mining home of Sibanye Gold at Glen Harvey on the West Rand, and taking place for the second time. Things could not be closer at the close, with Castrol Toyota's Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy holding a slim lead over the Horn brothers from Malalan in Class T.
Yeah, and excited, very, very tight at the top. Of course, Anthony leading the way, but there's a chance that you can take the title.
Yes, yeah, definitely. We had a good year. We all came to that last race now. But yeah, we'll just try to do what we always do, and just keep it clean and try to finish it with a good result.
Not quite challenging for the title is our Imperial Auto Celeb Navigator comedian Kevin Perkins, also known as Michael Nyka.
First and foremost, Kevin Perkins, excited, nervous?
I am very excited, but I'm actually terrified at the same time. Bro, the Indian in me can't help being terrified. You understand that? Of that one training session, I was very nervous. So it's very different, to being. I mean, I'm used to driving and doing like performance driving stuff in street cars, but nothing like this. And when you're the navigator and you've got to put all your trust in someone else, it's a different story. But I was terrified.
So Taylor and Murphy are top with 119 points, 14 clear of the Horns, meaning that while the Castrol Toyota pair are very much in the pound seats, any slip-up could prove costly. While the title in Class A has already been wrapped up by the Silvelts, plenty of eyes will be on Atlas Copco Cyril van Biljon, who's made the switch from productions to the special vehicle category.
Ja, nee, ek is baie opgewonde, nuwe kar, nuwe uitdagings en alles. En ja, dis nat, so ek dink dit gaan net nog meer interessant wees.
Let's catch up with the Class A champion, Quinton Silvalt.
I think it's going to be more of the same, a lot of rocks. Apparently there's been a lot of rain here, so I think we're going to be in for an interesting day.
So there's no catching Quinton and Cully Silvalt in the Elegant Fuel bet. 107 points in the championship and a massive 36 clear of Gerard and Hardus du Plessis, while defending champs Evan Hutchison and Dani Stassen are third.
And so begins the final qualifying of 2014. Christian Duploy and Henk Janssen van Vuren in the RFS Motorsport Ford, looking for a strong finish to what has been a disappointing year.
The battle in Class T was ably led by Chris Visser and Jaki Barnenhorst in the Atlas Copco Ford Ranger.
Almost 3 minutes behind them, the 4x4 Mega World Toyota Hilux of Jason Fenton and Vincent van Alleman. A superb drive, seeing them take second in class after 107 Ks of racing.
The Horns from Malalan finished in a disappointing 9th place after getting lost, losing wipers and suffering a puncture. But no such issues for Gary Bertholdt and Siegfried Rousseau, who set the third fastest time in the Atlas Copco Ford Ranger.
Class S delicately poised, Dion Fenton and Jakob van Aert just 9 points adrift of the leaders, but fastest in qualifying.
Newcomers Etienne Nienaber and Deval Ferreira ended second in Class S, but the title is beyond their reach.
Back to Class T, and outsiders Leroy Poult and Rob Howie from Castrol Toyota finished sixth in production, despite suffering a puncture. They have a mathematical chance of winning the championship, but will be desperate to have momentum on their side ahead of the Dakar Rally.
The leading contenders Taylor and Murphy had a qualifying race to forget, finishing 10th in class after losing brakes 30 Ks in and a massive 30 minutes. It all makes for a rather interesting scenario come race day, with the Castrol Toyotas starting way back in the mass start.
Kobus van Tonda and Freddie Creel finished ahead of them, but at one stage it didn't look likely. The Unifreight Ford Ranger got marooned on a rock before they managed to save it.
It was a race to forget for Kevin Perkins, unfortunately. He failed to finish qualifying, meaning former BARC captain John Smith claimed the Imperial Auto Celeb Challenge for 2014.
To go that fast in a car over terrain that you would creep over in a normal 4x4. You're doing 180, 200 Ks an hour. It's insane. It's mind-boggling, because you can't believe that a car can actually do that and still handle and drive, and it's ridiculous.
So another great drive from Visser and Barnenhorst, finishing 2 minutes and 59 seconds ahead of Fenton and Van Alleman. While Berthold and Rousseau will start third amongst the productions, Taylor, Murphy and the Horns are way back.
In the specials, they may have already won the title, but the Silvalds want another win.
But it was Mark Corbett and Joan Moore from Century Racing that shone brightest. A tremendous qualifying race saw them capture first place overall on the grid.
And what a performance from Cyril van Viljoen alongside Philip Hasselman from Atlas Copco, moving from Class T to Class A, yet second place overall.
The Silvalds once again in contention despite struggling to reach top speed at altitude, third in class for them.
Two of the most likeable men, Brett Parker and VZ van Sale from Cizanani Plastics, fell in a ditch towards the end, but that didn't stop them finishing fourth in Class A.
And rounding off the top five, Vickard Silvalt and Byron Sykes, despite losing GPS early after rolling their elegant fuel striker within the first 10Ks.
Leading the Class P battle, but way off the championship challenge, Colin Matthews and Rodney Burke from Century Racing.
So, a sensational performance from Corbett and Moore, sending them straight to the front, while Van Viljoen and Hasselman's debut in a special vehicle proved to be extremely rewarding. Title winners Quinton and Cully Silvald are third, just over 6 minutes off the pace.
So a super day of racing wrapped up in what proved to be a very popular area. The event was well supported, while the weather certainly played ball. As always, there was the usual tweaking, fixing and maintaining back at the DSP.
Of course, the happiest driver of the lot, Mark Corbett from Century Racing.
Mark, you must be very chuffed looking ahead, not a single car in front.
Yeah, we had a good run yesterday. We're 3 minutes in the lead, quite a big margin. I think the big trick is to hold on to that lead today. It's going to be a difficult task. I think the route is very rough. The first 100 Ks that we did on the route yesterday, there were an incredible amount of rocks. I think a lot of people have punctures, so hopefully we can hold it together.
Corbett and Moore first overall, but leading matters in the productions, and third on the grid, Visser and Badenhorst in the Atlas Copco Ford Ranger.
Yesterday was good for us. I think we had a bit of an advantage starting a little bit down the field, but yeah, on the other hand, we passed 3 other competitors, and it was quite tricky because the dust was quite bad. I thought it was going to be more damp, but yeah, I think today luckily the wind is blowing a little bit, but we were very, very satisfied where we started.
And satisfied they must be after that showing. And they're off, Corbett and Moore getting the Atlas Copco Gold 450 underway in their Century Racing CR5.
Second off the line and a massive 3 minutes later, Cyril van Viljoen and Philip Hasselman from Atlas Copco.
Might not have been a great 2014 for Corbett and Moore, but they're finishing on a high in a vehicle that was recently tested in Dubai.
Van Viljoen is known to love speed and he isn't holding back alongside Hasselman. The Atlas Copco team remains second in Class A.
The leading production vehicle, 2014 Dakar competitors Visser and Badenhorst, the pair looking to capture their second victory in a row. Of course, Visser bouncing back brilliantly from the neck injury he suffered in South America, which kept him out of the car for most of the year.
Well, there's no keeping Quinton Silvalt away from the car. He took over driving from his dad Cully at the beginning of the season, and what a move it turned out to be, as they can cruise to the title irrespective of today's result.
In second place in Class T, Jason Fent and Vincent van Alleman from 4x4 Megaworld. They're looking to build on their performance in Freiburg, where they achieved their best finish this year of 4th.
Holding on to third position in Class T, Berthold and Rousseau in the Atlas Copco Ford Ranger, flying the sponsors' colours and looking for their third podium of 2014.
Leading matters in Class S, Dion Venter and Jakob van Aert, 9 points behind Loder Brain and Rian Kraling in the championship. This could be a tight finish.
In fourth place in Class A, Parker and Van Sale from Cizanani Plastics, back racing after missing Freiburg.
Second in Class S, Etienne Ninabe and Deval Ferreira, and they're closely followed by the Castrol Toyota Hilux of Paul and Howie. Even if they were to win, and Taylor and Murphy and the Horns were to fall by the wayside, the defending champs would take the title on a count-out. Vickard Silvalt and Byron Sykes, meanwhile, fighting for a top 3 finish for the season in Class A.
On board now with Colin Matthews and Rodney Burke from Century Racing, leading matters in Class P, and hot on the heels of Ninabe and Ferreira. And eventually they would pass them. It was only a matter of time.
And they're not done yet, flying past Bickard, Silvalt and Sykes, although they look to be having trouble. Speaking of which, stranded on the side of the road, the Hilux of Holt and Howie. It looks as if their race may have come to an end.
Lying second in Class P but leading the championship, John Thompson and Clint McNamara, the latter filling in for Maurice O'Matten, who's overseas.
The first from the Regent Racing stable and lying third in Class S, the man who used to drive the celebs, Archie Rutherford, with Matthew Carlson.
Bad news for Silvalt and Sykes, they're out, meaning Keith Macanetti and Untoate Bareng in their first starting in Class A are now fifth.
Third in Class P, but 15 points adrift in the championship, James Watson and John Thompson. On board with the Horns, chasing a win and a possible title, but crucially ahead of Taylor and Murphy, and now ahead of the Unifreight Ford of Fantonda and Creel. Now they've overtaken Terence Marsh, who has a new nav in Mike Lawrenson. Next to Safa Pitcourts and Davy Langer, brilliant driving from the pair from Malalan, who are using the Hilux that Taylor and Murphy won the champs with last season. Could it win 2 years in a row?
Well, you spoke too soon after all that thrilling action. The pair coming to a standstill, and let's hope it's nothing worse than a puncture.
So after 50 Ks and the Sibanya Gold Driefontein mine as the backdrop, Corbett and Moore lead the way in the specials, followed by Van Biljon and Hasselman.
As for the productions, Visser and Badenhorst still in front, followed by Fenter and Van Alleman.
Back to the action, and Corbett and Moore still flying in their Century Racing CR5. And what a spectacle that was as they fly through the mud, much to the joy or disgust of the spectators.
Van Biljon and Hartelman still going strong in their Atlas Copco Batspec 5, the nav saying they feel right at home in a Class A chariot.
Not too far behind the leaders in Class T, Visser and Badenhorst in their Atlas Copco Ford Ranger. If they were to remain in this position, Visser would make it 2 wins out of 2 in only 2 races. Well, they seem to be a bit lost, and a few wrong slots confusing matters. But it didn't take them too long to get back onto the route.
Ja, ska je gaan worden. Zo vast. Yes, weer dan. Dat is een beetje rechts.
Still lying second in Class T, the 4x4 Mega World Hilux of Fenter and Van Alleman, making a nice mess of the mud.
Also ready to go swimming and gaining ground, Berthold and Rousseau, the Ford Racing pair looking to bounce back from their DNF in Freiburg.
Last time we were on board with these two, they couldn't stop overtaking competitors. Matthews and Burke in front in Class P and looking for only their second podium of the year.
Approaching this mud bath very cautiously is Thompson and McNamara, and rightly so. Well, they look to have got themselves completely stuck. And they'll decide to try it again as they reverse. But now the Cincinnati Plastics gym car Parker and Vincel comes screaming past them, making light work of the problem. Terrific racing.
Thompson and McNamara were almost overtaken again, but they're following the same route as the men in front of them, and this time it works. They're out of the mud, while Macanetti and Bareng had no problems going through. What drama!
So second in Class P, but leading the championship, John Thompson and Clint McNamara. Just behind them, caked in mud, the bat of Class P bat James Watson, and John Thompson desperate to get in front.
And this mud bath certainly proving to be elusively tricky for all concerned. Deploy and Janse van Vieren looking slightly troubled, but they've managed to come out unscathed. They're fourth in Class T.
Second in Class S, and missing a bonnet, Loader Brain and Rian Quailing in the Rubicon Racing Ford Ranger. They hold a 1-point lead in the championship.
Third in S, Kotze and Lange. No title on offer for them, unfortunately, but they'd love to finish only their second race of the year.
On board with Marsh and new nav Lawrenson doing the business for Imperial Auto, 6th in class, making light work of Rathbun and Reeder in the Rubicon Racing Toyota Hilux.
Terence, of course, used to race alongside Gerard Schutter for a while before taking over the reins of the Celebrity Challenge initiative.
The men who are just 1 point behind Rubicon Racing teammates De Bruyn and Quayling in Class S, Visser and Leroux. This is a nail-biting end to the year as the pair are so close.
Will Peter Ruthven and Hansie Reeder manage to conquer the dreaded mud bath? Slowly they go in, and even slower coming out. The mud has yet another victim as Cobus van Tonder and Freddie Creel take the much easier route on the right.
And absolutely no problem for them, except for no visibility for a few seconds. They literally leave the other two in the dirt.
Back with the horns from Malalan, lying 8th in Class T but having no problem conquering the mud, while Ruthven and Reeder are now out of their highlights to assess the problem.
Nienaber and Ferreira next to tackle the dirt pool. And while it looks tough, they've managed to escape its clutches. And a great touch, they've decided to lend the stranded pair a helping hand.
Success at last! One of the hallmarks of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship is undoubtedly the fantastic sportsmanship and camaraderie. Well, except when it comes to your own navigators, it seems.
We've seen very little of Taylor and Murphy. They must be very concerned as they're lying 9th in Class T. But with the horns just 1 place ahead, the title is theirs for now. Nice manoeuvring past Luke Wood and Andre Vermeulen in Class S, the pair having just joined Regent Racing.
In Class G, a tremendous race from Brian Kappa and Michael Abramson to take the win. And with Woolridge and Dreyer not starting the event, Kappa captured the title too. What a 2014 for the man who's more used to two wheels.
Bad news for Rutherford and Carlson, they look to be definitely out.
Walking down here, what happened?
No, I think the prop shaft gave way, its shirt off. We hit one of those ditches there, but not very hard, so I don't know.
At DSP and still leading Corbett and Moore.
Yeah, it's rough out there, it really is, but we managed to hold on to our lead on the first loop. I think we grew it from 3 to 7 minutes, so all in all we're happy.
As they should be. Meanwhile, the battle in Class P could not be closer.
Yeah, we're having a good time out there. Lost brakes a couple of times. My navi's not been so nauseous as yesterday, but everything's going well, thanks.
So at DSP, Corbett and Moore are in front amongst the specials, a massive 5 minutes and 53 seconds ahead of Van Biljon and Harselman. While if things stay as they are, Thompson with stand-in Mav McNamara will capture the Class P title.
In productions, it's the Atlas Copco Ford pair of Visser and Badenhorst that lead the way.
The last 40 k's with a new route was a little bit difficult to get the route, but on that, yeah, it's good. The car behaves like everything well.
Taylor and Murphy certainly still have the title in their sights as long as they remain close to the horns.
The car's good, and yeah, we've made up a lot of time. I think the horns are only about 2 minutes ahead of us, so yeah, pressure's on them now.
And the car?
It's a Toyota, it's perfect.
Unfortunately, no more racing for Taylor's Castrol Toyota teammates Paul and Howie.
We got a puncture and we stopped and changed it, and one of the specials got past us. We kept on logging on to him, and we just didn't have a buzzer inside the car. So we, at all the crossings, we were trying to hoot with the car. But we came up to one, and he stopped quite a way before the stop, and it caught us out, so it caught me out, and I braked quite hard and slipped on the grass, the wet grass, and went into the back of him.
Horrible way to finish the season for the pair. So as things stand, it's Visser and Badenhorst, followed by Berthelt and Rousseau and Venter and Van Alleman. The Horns are in 7th place with Taylor and Murphy about 2 minutes behind.
Back to the action, and it's Corbett and Moore blazing the trail. Both men no strangers to the Dakar, albeit not as teammates. They took a heavy knock to the front suspension in Loop 1, but nothing too serious.
Van Biljon, absolutely loving life in Class A, said at DSP that the move was the best decision he's made. Him and Hasselman second in class.
Heading for their second win on the trot in Class T, Visser and Badenhorst in the Atlas Copco Ford Ranger.
Their teammates are behind them in second place, Gary Berthelt and Siegfried Rousseau, enjoying a clean run so far.
Rounding off the front three in Class T, Fenton van Alleman, an impressive performance from the youngsters.
Up front in Class P remains Matthews and Burke. No hassles yet for the duo from Century Racing.
They've climbed a spot and are now third in Class A, Parker and Fincel from Sizanani Plastics, despite experiencing a puncture in the first loop.
Venter and Van Aert are sitting in front in Class S. Remember, Venter is just 9 points adrift in the Drivers' Championship.
While Thompson is leading the championship in Class P, and if he and McNamara stay in second place, the title is his.
Macanetti and Bareng are now fourth in Class A, as it's bad news for championship winners Quinton and Kali Silvald. They're out. Well, you can't win them all.
On board now with Marsh and Lawrence, and they've had a very good run so far. And I've spoken too soon, then Navarra has gone flying. They're definitely out, but let's hope they're okay.
Well, good news, Derek. Both men have emerged relatively unscathed. The Horns from Mulholland, meanwhile, are trying their utmost to break away from Taylor and Murphy, but they don't seem to be doing enough.
And here are the defending champs, off a podium spot at the moment, but unless catastrophe strikes, they look to be headed for the title.
Lying way back now, James Watson and John Thompson. Unfortunately for them, the title in Class B looks to be a bridge too far, with Thompson and McNamara well ahead of them.
Fifth in Class T, Kobus van Tonde and Freddie Creel in the Unifreight Ford. And they're having no problems getting past the Rubicon Racing Hilux of Visser and LaRue. The pair still searching for their first podium this year, while Visser and LaRue, of course, are chasing the championship in Class S.
The route has been described as being extremely rocky by many, and that's proof as to how tough it was. That said, the overall view from most was that the Atlas Copco Gold 450 was a winner.
Taking it safe in the terrain, Luke Buerta and Andre Vermeulen from Regent Racing. Buerta absolutely loving his new home, so to speak.
So after 260 kilometers, Corbett and Moore still in front in the specials, followed by Van Biljon and Hasselman, while Matthews and Burke are first in Class P.
Nothing changing amongst the front runners in the productions, with Visser and Badenhorst out in front. The Horns are fifth, just one place ahead of Taylor and Murphy.
Well, we have a new leader overall. Heartbreaking stuff for Corbett and Moore as they're sidelined. Van Biljon and Hasselman from Atlas Copco, now the front runners with the finish line around the corner.
This really has been an exceptional performance from these two. I'll say it again, their first outing together in a special vehicle.
Unbelievably, there's also a change to the lead in Class T, and we now have Berthold and Rousseau in front, meaning something has happened to their Ford Racing teammates of Visser and Badenhorst.
It really is all happening, and that's opened the door for Fenton van Alleman, who have jumped to second place in Class T.
Good news for Corbett and Moore, they're up and running again, but they've dropped to second in Class A. So near, but yet so far.
Back on board with Van Tonde and Creel. But being good Samaritans, they've made a U-turn to try and assist the stranded Visser and Badenhorst, but sadly to no avail.
Up front, a phenomenal victory for Sarel van Biljon and Philip Hasselman from Atlas Copco, taking over the lead near the close to see out the win. Heartbreak though for Corbett and Moore, who finished almost 8 minutes behind in second place, while the 7th place finish for Thompson with McNamara ensured that Class P was his.
Sorrel, of course, no stranger to success, having done so well at the Dakar Rally, and now doing equally as well at the Donaldson Cross Country Championship.
Sorrel, representing Atlas Copco, this is their event and you did them right.
Ek wil vir julle sê 'n jaar en 'n half terug het hulle my genader om betrokke te raak en van daai dag af tot vandag toe is dit een van die beste goed wat my gebeur het. Ek is so trots op hulle. Ek wil vir hulle sê baie dankie. Laat hulle my nader getrek het. Ek voel geëerd om weet onder hulle vaandel te ry en ek hoop ek kan hulle net trots maak.
As for the final standings, the Silverts taking the title despite recording a DNF today. What a year for the Elegant Fuel father and son team, finishing 36 points clear of their nearest challengers, the Du Plessis.
As for the productions, a similar story as the Atlas Copco Ford Racing pair of Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau went in front close to the end and never let go to capture their first win of the year.
They were almost 3 minutes clear of Vincent van Alleman, while Taylor and Murphy's 5th place finish, 2 behind the horns, saw them capture their 2nd championship title in a row. In Class S, Fis and LaRue's 6th place saw them take the title.
Right, Gary, congratulations. What a ride.
Yeah, that was an incredible ride. That was an absolutely awesome race. This Atlas Copco Gold really seems to have it out there for mixed conditions, bit of rocks, bit of mud, treacherous stuff. Chris and myself, we had to keep each other honest the whole day. There was no gap between us, and a bit of misfortune for him, but unfortunately sometimes it happens like that, and that was our fortune. We managed to bring this Atlas Copco Ford Ranger home in first place, and for us it's a fantastic achievement.
What a victory for Taylor and Murphy, 10 points clear of the horns from Mullalern. The win for Berthold and Rousseau saw them just put Poulter and Howie to 3rd place. But of course, the Donaldson Cross Country Championship is not just about winning, but giving back as well.
We've been involved, I think, for over 25 years with the Lockwood Ranch. It's a home for children with Down syndrome, and once a year we have a Christmas party for them. It's very rewarding. It brings you down to earth. But it's something which we will continue to do for many years to come.
The Donaldson Cross Country Championship, brought to you by Donaldson Filtration Systems, a market leader in filtration solutions.